I have got some SaaS ideas that I really want to share with you that you can build to make some money on the side, do them open source to learn as you go along, build a community, grow your network and all that great stuff, and help you stand out from the crowd if you apply for a job because you're working on real world projects. So it just ticks so many boxes. And I would build these if I had time. So maybe one day I will if no one else does, because I'm actually starting a new project very soon, which will be in another video. But for now, let's talk about these ideas that you can start from today to make some extra money. From what I learned over the last year trying to build a SaaS product is keep it super simple and super focused. Adding more features does not make it any better. So keep it simple, focus on a few features that your ideal customer will want, and then you can get feedback sooner by delivering faster and more often. People necessarily don't want to have lots of features because it can get confusing. So remember, it doesn't need to be a big project. It can be a micro SaaS, which is getting really popular all the time. I keep hearing that term more and more. So my next project will be a micro SaaS. Why did I choose these projects? Well, because I actually saw a gap and I actually wanted to build them. Like I said, I think there's something missing, and I think it's really important to build something that resonates with you. So if you're doing something you think, oh, I can't find this product, or there's a few products out there but they don't quite do what I want, then maybe you could build them. And this is how I came up with this list. So first in the list, in no order, but the first one that I want to share first is an open source alternative to Pingdom. Pingdom came out about 10 years ago approximately, or when I discovered it was 10 years ago. And it pinged your site for GET requests or POST requests, all sorts of like kind of customizations, but it did it really simply and kind of charged you in packs of 10 and like $1 per ping. And it had lots of useful features, but not too many. And I wanted to use it recently, so I went to check it out, did a Google, and it got bought out by a huge company. I think it was SolarWinds, and they paid loads of money for it. I'm not going to go into that story. You can check that out yourself. But what was interesting was they turned it from a really looking nice, useful micro SaaS product into this enterprise product. And I didn't want to use it. Their pricing model was very confusing. You had to buy it in kind of big bulks, but also the UI felt like it had gone back 20 years. Sorry for anyone who works at those companies, but I just felt it wasn't what I needed as someone who had a small SaaS product. So I carried on searching, and actually I couldn't find anything that was what Pingdom was 10 years ago. I remember using it and thinking, this is amazing, take my money. So I think doing an open source alternative of what Pingdom was 10 years ago would be a jackpot, and I could be your first customer. The next project, so the second one I would like to mention, is a contact form. And you're thinking, Eddie, the contact forms have been around for years. And yes, they have. But this is contact form with a bit of a twist. So I was using a product recently called Kartra, and it gave us this kind of help desk contact form feature. But I stopped using them, not because it was bad, but because it was very, very, very expensive, because it had so many other features that I wasn't using. So I stopped using it. But I think an open source alternative to this would be amazing. So let me explain what it is. It's a contact form that you can embed in your site, and it asks for a kind of a title and a description. What I thought was really good is it had this department field that you would fill in yourself on the admin section, and you could add accounting department, collaboration department, community department, support department, whatever you wanted, and had some defaults in there. And I thought this was great because it allowed me to categorize these tickets that came in, and you could add team members and assign them to different people. It was really useful and simple, and I thought that as a micro SaaS product would be amazing. And what it also did was kind of allow the person to log in and keep updated with that ticket and keep that history, and they would get email notification once a new reply was added to their ticket. And then you could mark these tickets as done, completed, still in progress, waiting for a response from the other person. And they could also rate their feedback of the kind of the support that they had from you, which I thought was really, really awesome. And you could decide to make that public. And those were kind of like three main features that it did, and that's what I would love to have and add to all my projects and SaaS products, and code of conduct forms, adding a link to that, because then I could say, is it a code of contact? And if I didn't want to embed it in a site, I could put a link to the contact form on the actual site itself. So not my site or my project, but the site that's actually hosting the contact form. So the project, the SaaS platform, because then in my code of conduct, I could put a link to that form. So therefore, I think there are two ways to use the form. One is to have it embedded in my site. Another way is just to have a link to the form. Again, limited amount of features, but super, super useful. So that is definitely on my to-do list. Let me know if you beat me to it. Oh, one more feature I think you should add to that is templated replies. So therefore, if you keep getting the same request over and over again, a bit like on GitHub issues and pull request reviews and stuff, having templated replies. So you could write your own custom reply and you could reuse that every time and tweak it accordingly. The third idea I think would be really useful, and I've created a similar one for Repo Rater, so you could use a lot of that code, is rating conferences. I think this is really, really important because I've been to so many conferences and some have been absolutely amazing and I can't wait to go back to those. But some have been some real stinkers and were just sales pitches for the companies that were sponsoring the event. And I wouldn't want anyone to waste their time with those conferences. So I think it'd be really great to have kind of a TripAdvisor for conferences. I think that'd be useful. I would definitely add my experience to it and also use it before I went to a conference. So now I've mentioned that, let me know what you think of those ideas in the comments below. But also I want to talk about some technologies that I would use to build it. And you could use so many other technologies. I'm not saying you have to use these. This is what I would use. I would use Next.js with Tailwind and probably with Mongo, Atlas, and Playwright with GitHub Actions and Vercel. But if I was to use authentication, which they would all need, I would use NextAuth. I think it's pretty good. But I've also been using Appright recently, which I think is really awesome. And they have a great authentication as well and other features. So if I need to file upload and cloud functions, then I would use Appright for those and probably use the Appright database as well, because you're kind of tying into that ecosystem. So it depends on what you needed and where you were taking your project. And yes, you could use multiple third-party services, but I like to limit those. I feel it reduces the risk, but sometimes you need to use multiple services and that's absolutely fine. What ideas do you have? Don't think people are going to steal your ideas. I put all my ideas out there in public. I love sharing them with you because I get feedback as well. So I think that's important. You should put your ideas out there and also it kind of holds you accountable. But please remember before you start building any idea to do your market research. I think that is really important. Research things like competitors, ideal customers, make a questionnaire for people to fill out so you could get some feedback. Not too long, kind of like 5 questions, something that people could do in under a minute with multiple choice. But questions like, would they use it? If they would, how much would they pay for it? Because there are some products that people would want to use, but they're not willing to pay for it. And you could do a freemium model where they get kind of, I don't know, one feature for free, but if they want multiple features or they want to do multiple things, then they would pay for it. So that also works. It depends if you're going B2C or B2B. I did B2C last year with BIODROP and we've had about 4,000 people sign up with only one paying. Thank you so much, Praduma. You're awesome. And it shows that there's a lot of competition out there. Maybe the market is saturated and maybe there are so many free solutions people don't want to pay for it. And I should have done more market research for that. On our next product, which I will share very soon, we haven't started it yet. We're just doing the market research phase and we have got people saying they would pay for it, which is super interesting and is a product that will help all of you. So I can't wait to share it with you. I'm super excited. So yes, coming out very soon. But subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about the projects I'm going to build. I really want to take you along that journey from the market research all the way to delivering the SaaS product and getting people hopefully to sign up for it and pay. So I'm really keen to do that. That will be B2B, the next one. The previous one was B2C. So we'll go business to business this time. That should be interesting. So I think less users, but more money per month to subscribe for the membership. So it's going to be super interesting. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment for me below and let me know what you think.